Hi there guys and welcome to the latest episode of the Cryptoverse, your regular dose of news and commentary on Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. My name is Chris Coney and I am the host of the Cryptoverse and the founder of cryptoversity.com, which is the online school where you set the price to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. You can find out more at cryptoversity.com. If you go to the podcast page on Cryptoversity, you will find subscription buttons for iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Store, YouTube and Steemit, so you can subscribe and get the latest episode of the Cryptoverse fed directly to you. In order to support the Cryptoverse and its ongoing development, you can contribute some Bitcoin on that page or click through to Steemit and upvote this episode so that the Steam network will fund the show. Right, onwards with the market roundup. Biggest thing that pops out to me this morning is Steam is down another 13%. So it's gone right from $330 million market cap and it's gradually slid from there. And today the overall blockchain is worth $242 million. That means the Steam token is worth $2.45. Let's see what else we've got here. This is interesting. Ethereum Classic over the last 24 hours has jumped 19%. And today I've selected an article about Ethereum Classic because this is like unprecedented in the cryptosphere. And this is the ongoing drama. So $41 million worth of Ethereum Classic has been traded versus $20 million worth of the mainstream Ethereum token. I'm not sure what to call that. Ethereum Core, maybe I should call that. Ethereum Core is up 1%, still $1 billion blockchain. So Ethereum Classic's got a long way to go given that it's only worth 143 million. Anybody else in the double figures today? I received the Scenario newsletter recently. Hey, does anyone know this? Is Scenario built on Ethereum? The only reason I say that is because in the newsletter they were talking about, attending an Ethereum conference of some kind. Let me just see if I can pull it out. No, I've archived it. So yeah, does anyone know that? I was assuming that Scenario was a custom blockchain, but maybe I'm wrong. It was only because they was talking about smart contracts, and I haven't read the full newsletter yet because I just scanned through my emails in the morning to see what's what, and then do the Cryptoverse first thing. All right, in the top 20 we've got Factum up 11%, but other than that, pretty good. Let's have a look at my favorite number. Overall market cap of the entire Cryptoverse, $12.7 billion. Not as big as it's been, but we'll soldier on regardless. Quick glance at the Bitcoin price chart, courtesy of bitcoinwisdom.com. I drew this big old sort of symmetrical triangle yesterday, and so far it seems to be obeying that, but we'll see as the days go on. Looking at this, it's not going to be too many days, maybe 3 or 4 days before these two ascending and descending lines either get broken or to the upside or the downside. So it's getting a bit tight in there. Right, onto the news, courtesy of bitcoin.com. Today I've picked out this article, which is Ethereum users plot a 51% attack on Ethereum Classic. Has it gone too far? Now, if we're talking about Ethereum Core attacking Ethereum Classic, I think that's what we're talking about here. And this is this article was written by Yuan Galt, so credit to him for that. Let's see what we've got then. As tensions between the Ethereum Core and Ethereum Classic communities heats up, some argue that Ethereum Core users see the opportunity to 51% attack their new competitor. Straight away, I've got a comment about that. That's completely out of order. That is not what cryptocurrency is about, right? This is a tribal kind of move to take out an opponent, rather than letting the market decide. If they're that confident that Ethereum Core is superior, leave it alone and let Ethereum Classic fail on its own. And if you don't think Ethereum Classic is going to fail, why not? It's because you think that Ethereum Classic is superior. And if you think that Ethereum Classic is superior, why aren't you joining it? Right? Use your head. Anyway, going on with the article. Going by the pseudonym of Sean's123, the pro Ethereum Core user and the alleged miner began promoting their idea of a 51% attack against Ethereum Classic on the forums late on the 27th of July. Okay, that was 2 days ago, because today is the 29th of July. And then there's actually a screenshot. It says, would you dedicate your miner for a day to do a 51% attack on Ethereum Classic? And this is in posting on the Ethereum forum by the looks of things. And it says poll here, and he's put a straw poll out there. Let me see. I'm going to check out this straw poll, because it's actually strawpoll.me. Strawpoll.me. I'm going to do it on the other screen. strawpoll.me/108-57943. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to see what the current standings are, if this poll is still running. Would you dedicate your miner for? I'll say no, because then it should show me the results. Okay, so there's been a total of 50 votes so far, and it's 60% no, 20% yes, but that's based on a very small sampling. However, I don't know how many Ethereum miners there are. Someone's replied to that comment on the forum in this image that's set into the article, and someone says, why, for what benefit? And they say, personally, I believe Ethereum Core will go back to gaining traction once our Bitcoin Classic dies off. Killing off Bitcoin Classic would make Bitcoin Classic, I'm so sorry. Ethereum Classic. So he's saying, I believe that Ethereum Core will go back to gaining traction once Ethereum Classic dies off. Killing off Ethereum Classic would make Ethereum Core mining more profitable. The way I see it, the die-hard Ethereum Core supporters have a coin going simply because they lost the vote. What do you mean? Anyway, a few hurting the majority simply because they didn't get their way. What the hell does he mean they didn't get because they lost the vote? They're not the majority, but there wasn't a formal vote as such. The vote is in code. And actually, unlike political democracy where there's an election and there's a definitive winner, in the crypto world, you can just split off your own country or your own currency or your own governance model. That's the key point. It's not like first past the post, as we call it in the UK, where if say one political party gets 33% of the votes, and that is actually more than any other party, then that political party gets power. But what's weird about that is they get to run the country, even though only a third of the country voted for them and 2/3 didn't. So those 2/3 are being ruled by a party that they didn't vote for. The difference in the free world of cryptocurrencies is that you don't have to go with the majority. You can peel off and create another world and have your little minority community. And they should have the right to exist, right? As long as they can sustain themselves and they don't hurt anyone else, leave them alone, right? So this aggression about the 51% attack, I wholeheartedly disagree with. So his intention was made very clear with this statement. Here's this Sean's123 again on the Ethereum forum. He said, just one day of 51% attack, blocking their transactions and the coin would lose all credibility and people would sell as soon as they could, making the coin disappear for good. Do you know what's absolutely hilarious about that? Is that he's talking about using a 51% attack to like double spend or relay stuff on the Ethereum Classic chain. That will cause people to lose money. Because if you do a double spend, for example, then the people who were supposed to get paid will not get paid because the one transaction will beat the other. Anyway, you can look up what a double spend is, but people get double spent won't receive money for goods or services or whatever. And do you know what's hilarious about that is that didn't Ethereum do a hard fork specifically to erase a mistake where people lost money, right? So that is massive hypocrisy in my opinion. The whole point about Ethereum Core forking was to roll back the damage done by the DAO attacker, okay? Now, they called him an attacker, but it wasn't like an attack. It was more judo. The DAO attacker just used what was already there It wasn't like he broke in cryptographically or anything like that, or did a 51% attack on the DAO. They just literally walked through the open door that was there, right? It didn't coerce anybody. A DAO attacker didn't insert any code into the smart contract. They just read the contract, executed the code, and boom, drained some money out. So this is very different, though. This guy's talking about actively doing something malicious to the Ethereum Classic chain. And the point I'm getting at is that will cause double spends. It will cause people to lose money, and he's happy for that to happen. So he's happy for the Ethereum Classic people to lose money, but he's not happy for the DAO people to lose money. And in his 51% attack example, the people who would lose money in the Ethereum Classic chain, they haven't done anything wrong, right? At all. Anyway, so moving on with the article, it says, this intent has only been expressed by a handful of apparent Ethereum core supporters, and there is no evidence that it represents the majority of users, the Ethereum Foundation or any other parties, yet. However, it does highlight the state of conflict and the weaponization of mining power. That's a very good point. The weaponization of mining power. When anyone describes miners, they typically say that miners, when they're explaining it to blockchains to people for the first time and proof of work, they say miners secure the network. That's their job. So to take the people who are supposed to be securing the network and using that as a weapon, that's just not cool, is it? Now, this is based on this guy gathering sufficient support for this attack, and I hope that most miners are far more enlightened than this guy. So the article goes on, after posting a poll that got almost no attention, Sean's123 made a second post which turned into a deeper discussion of the attack and on the development of code to be used. Okay, and then inset into the article is a whole bunch of code, which I assume this guy wrote. He's put it on GitHub 4 days ago, blah, 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 blah. I can't read that code, to be honest. I do have some coding experience, but I don't actually know what that is written in. Can't tell from here, and if I pause too long, there'll be a massive silence in the episode, so we don't want that. So moving on with the article, it says the 51% attack, as coded by the pseudonymous Black Eagles, without an A in the black, would block all Ethereum Classic transactions once they could outmine the rest of the honest miners. An active user going by the name of Work suggested the creation of an Ethereum core mining pool that, after gaining roughly 400 gigahashes, would be large enough to point its hashing power at Ethereum Classic and execute the attack. Okay, that's interesting. Just from a technical point of view, it's an interesting approach. I still don't agree with the attack. However, this guy, Work, or she, is proposing the creation of a new mining pool, and then the software that manages the mining pool would be set to attack Ethereum Classic once it gets over 400 gigahashes, which I assume is greater than the hashing power on the Ethereum Classic chain. So that would be technically enough to start messing with it, and then the longer they sustain the attack, the more likely Ethereum Classic is to die. And then there's a extract from the forums, the Ethereum forums, from this Work member, and it says, I suppose it could be done as an Ethereum core pool, which, once enough hash rate was active, switched to creating a private chain on the Ethereum Classic chain. Even with 70 to 120 Ethereum Classic confirmations required on existing exchanges, a double spend wouldn't be too difficult. True. And yeah, so it wouldn't be instantaneous. You'd have to race the legitimate miners and then mine enough blocks ahead and win enough blocks to be the longest chain, and then keep going until you had 70 to 120 confirmations, and then you would pretty much own the Ethereum Classic chain. So very handily in the article we have the numbers. So the Ethereum Classic chain runs a mining power of 437 gigahashes compared to Ethereum Core's 4008 gigahashes. What's that, 4 terahash? Anyway, moving on with the article, Sean's123, this guy who's proposing the attack, also isn't the first miner to threaten a 51% attack against Ethereum Classic. Earlier this week, Chandler Zhao, a renowned Chinese miner and Bitcoin evangelist, threatened to point his 90 gigahashes at Ethereum Classic. I believe we spoke about this in a previous episode, guys, didn't we? And so there's his tweet again from this guy, Chandler Guo. It's Chandler Guo, and that's his Twitter handle, at Chandler Guo. So this was tweeted to the 4th of July, which is now 5 days ago. And it says, I am Chandler Guo, a 51% attack on Ethereum Classic is coming with my 98 gigahash rate. And then he's put POW Topos, TOPOS.com. I guess that's proof of work. Proof of work to prove, POW proof of work, TO to POS, proof of stake.com. So it's POW to POS.com. I'm not sure what that is, but let me just click on it real quick. If I can work it out in about 10 seconds, I'll tell you. Otherwise, I'll move on with the article. So proof of work to proof of stake. Okay, what's this? Chandler Guo, Ethereum mining data center, blah, 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 blah. This looks like a website all about his data center. So let me get rid of that. We're not interested in that. He then he retracted his stance a few days later, pointing out that it would hurt innocent Ethereum Classic holders. And that's what I just said. And then there's an image of a chat exchange. I think that's WeChat, actually, which is a popular Chinese chat app. And the first message is in Chinese, but the second one says, my plan of 51% attack on Ethereum Classic is a response to the DAO attacker, because the hacker stole over 3 million Ethereum Classic, and over 7 million are still at risk. It's easy to attack Ethereum Classic, but it will certainly affect the innocent Ethereum Classic holders. My principle is don't be evil, thus I have to give up the attack. See? So this guy, Sean's123, this Chandler Guo fellow has seen the light that you just can't, you're not supposed to do evil. Well, I say not supposed to. I mean, that's a judgment call. Anyone can choose to do evil or not. But in the long run, I don't think it's a good idea. Okay, so then there's another tweet from this guy, Chandler Guo. It's easy to attack Ethereum Classic, but it will certainly affect innocent Ethereum Classic holders. My principle is don't be evil. So that's his personal principle. And in the long run, that will serve him, I believe, and you too, and me as well. So finally, is the Ethereum community going too far? Using the conflict between the old Catholics and their defectors as a metaphor. Okay, this is going to be, I can see where this is going. So using the conflict between the old Catholics and their defectors as a metaphor, a 51% attack against Ethereum Classic would be the equivalent of destroying churches and burning the property of the new congregation's followers. This kind of behavior is inherently anti-competitive and is an initiation of aggression. Those are two things that are absolute no-nos if we're going to, create a world of balance and harmony. And actually, those are two key things that Roger Ver is dead against because he's a volunteerist. So anti-competitive, you don't want anti-competitive because competition benefits the end user by fostering innovation and rewarding innovation. And the other one is that the non-aggression principle is the most basic philosophical principle that society has to be organized around. Otherwise, it just gives rise to all kinds of layers and layers and layers of problems. So if you took away, if we instigated a non-aggression principle across the board, that would completely transform dozens and dozens of areas of life in ways that you wouldn't even be able to imagine. So anyway, the article goes on. The nature of blockchains, the nature of blockchain forks is that they are voluntary, and those that disagree have the freedom to use their preferred versions of the code. That's exactly what I said. If you appreciate the express values of Ethereum Classic and think it really does stand for long-term immutability and competition, and is not, as detractors suggest, Bitcoin maximalist trolling, then now is the time to make your voice heard in the ongoing immutability debate. Would a planned 51% attack on Ethereum Classic be unethical? Let us know in the comments below. Well, there's no doubt about it. Of course, it would be unethical. Think about this, right? what would happen if we hadn't forked Ethereum? And then what would happen if the entire Ethereum community decided that they wanted to be the number one most capitalized coin in the world, right? And then let's say that the Ethereum miners colluded and decided to start taking out altcoins one by one. And what they would do is, on any given day, they would take all their hashing power and they would say, point it at Factom or point it at the BitShares network or whatever, right? And then, well, you can't do that with BitShares because BitShares is proof of stake, but you know what I'm saying? They would just choose another proof of work coin and they would push all their hashing power onto it and then create an alternative chain and then fold that whole thing. And imagine if they systematically went through all of the proof of work coins, altcoins, and knocking them out. Now, they couldn't do that with Bitcoin because the hashing power on the Bitcoin network is so huge by comparison, they couldn't do that. So they couldn't become the most capitalized coin, but they could definitely take out competition in an unethical way. Now, what is absolutely staggering about this is that this kind of behavior where you use force to take out a competitor who's a threat to you, that is a hallmark of the world that crypto is designed to replace. All of these massive corporations that use lobbying basically to change the rules of the industries so that it favors their business models, that's the kind of bad ethics that has given rise to decentralization, blockchains, and all this kind of stuff, decentralized governance. So in the free market, your business should be successful on the basis of having the best product or superior service or good pricing or whatever it is, right? Great customer experience. And that's the basis on which you take customers from your competitors. And it's non-coercive. There's no aggression, and it's purely done by seduction. So Apple comes along and they launch their iPhone for the first time, right? Did they raid other stores and then basically snatch people's phones out of their hand and then jam an iPhone in their hands? Of course not, right? They just displayed something that was desirable, and people automatically recognized the fact and moved towards it. And in one fell swoop, Apple took, a massive market share in the smartphone market. And that's how the free market works. So if it happens every time when a new altcoin is launched, right? Every time an altcoin is launched, like Steam, that has a fantastic value proposition, solves a real world problem and is desirable, boom, in 3 months it can go from zero to being worth $200 million. And it's on the internet, right? The internet cannot do anything to you unless you voluntarily go up to an electronic device and log on, right? So all of the Steam users, all of that market cap was attracted to them, peacefully, voluntarily, with no aggression required, right? It's seduction versus aggression. So is it unethical? Well, absolutely, right? And this just goes completely against the crypto grain, this idea of attacking an alternative currency. And what's bonkers about that is that it's like, come on, guys, all of us in the crypto world, we all connect on a fundamental point about we love decentralization, we love financial freedom, we hate tyranny, all these basic things that attract people to cryptocurrencies, right? We're this little dinky outfit right now. The whole cryptosphere is worth $13 billion. And look over there, there's a great big monster of a financial system that does not want us to succeed. So all this bickering and bitching within the crypto community, what the hell are you doing, right? That's like, do you want the fiat banking system to win? Because if you don't, stop dicking it about, right? Stop fighting inside the Ethereum community. So this is not just infighting inside the crypto community, which happens, like, Litecoin versus Bitcoin and all this tribalism. It's not just like that. This is a civil war, if you like, within a coin. So it's inside crypto, inside a specific coin, which to me is ridiculous. All that energy is being wasted, and it could be put towards expanding the adoption of cryptocurrencies and securing the financial future of the whole planet. But no, just because it's called Ethereum, I think that's where the problem is. Going back to my example, if Ethereum did it to an altcoin, if they attacked an altcoin, then people would be up in arms going, what the hell are you doing? you bully, right? And I don't think they would do that because clearly it hasn't been done so far. As long as Ethereum there was only one Ethereum. I think it's specifically now because there are two coins called Ethereum that people are kind of getting. This guy in particular, this Sean's123, is getting a bit possessive about it, and he doesn't own it. That's the thing. That's what's crazy about it. So let's just finish off with the comments here on the article. Let's see. This fellow says, "It is like cutting off the left ear so that the right ear will hear better." Buterin told us that the foundation will support all Ethereum protocols. Besides, from the miner's perspective, it's cool to have two coins, since miners split their hashing power by 2. So it's like halving inside out. I suppose it is. Well, it's not halving, is it? It's doubling. That's the opposite. The next person says, an attack would be a prosecutable offence in many jurisdictions. It would be near impossible to anonymize. Technically, it might be prosecutable, but it's going to be an absolute nightmare in the court system because you're going to have to. What offence would you get them for? It's kind of like a denial of service attack, really, isn't it? That's what a 51% attack is, essentially. And then the third comment on this article says, it just proves what a toxic community exists in Ethereum Core. Also, the lack of intelligence. They won't earn more mining by killing Ethereum Classic. It will be the exact opposite. This is actually a good point. All the hash on Ethereum Classic will go back into Ethereum Core, moron. Anyway, they are obviously just children with no concept of long-term value and in it for the short-term fiat gain. Good point. What they do or say doesn't matter. They aren't capable of anything more than spreading the toxicity of the Ethereum Core community to the rest of the interwebs. They chose a contentious hard fork without consensus. This is the result of their decision. Grow up and accept responsibility. The DAO bailout destroyed Ethereum Core's credibility. A very well thought out comment, that. Yeah, so the key point there was, if you kill Ethereum Classic, all that mining power will just go, oh well, and it'll switch to Ethereum Core, thereby increasing competition for winning blocks on the Ethereum blockchain and making it less profitable. Because generally the more competition, it puts downward price pressure on the industry. So think of it like this. Think of it of one extreme to the other. The most extreme is that you're the only Ethereum miner on the planet and you mine on your desktop computer. Just some Intel i7 or something that you paid 300 quid for. That's it. Boom. Every single block reward is coming to you. Highly, highly profitable. You bought one home computer and then you're earning all the fees, all the block rewards for the entire Ethereum community, right? The entire Ethereum blockchain. Highly profitable. Small investment, massive return. Flip it the other way. Imagine every computer on the planet, every supercomputer is mining Ethereum and you're mining on your home computer. Or even if you owned a data center, it doesn't matter. You would be such a small percentage of the overall hashing power that your profitability will be ridiculously poor. So you invest in a data center and you might get a few pence a day in block rewards. So that's what basically the guy's talking about. So at the minute, some of the miners are distracted, if you like, mining Ethereum Classic. So they're not competing for Ethereum Core block rewards. So yeah, that's actually a really good point. If you kill Ethereum Classic, it basically makes Ethereum Core mining less profitable because there's more competition. Alrighty then, that's going to do it for this edition of the Cryptoverse with me, Chris Coney. I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please go to cryptoversity.com/podcast, subscribe on your favorite network, and please remember to upvote this episode on Steemit or make a contribution to the Cryptoverse in Bitcoin to the address on that page. Remember to check out the main site, cryptoversity.com, which is the online school where you set the price to learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchains. And that's all for this episode of the Cryptoverse. So it's me, Chris Coney, until the next one, saying bye for now.